We'll call the meeting to order and have a roll call.
Mr. Fiddler.
Here.
Mr. Overland. Mr. Love.
Here.
Mr. Burrage.
Here.
Mr. Huckabee.
Here.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Burgess.
Here.
Mr. Egan.
Chair declares that there's a quorum present to conduct business, and the first thing we'd like to do is recognize Representative James Leewright, who's in the front row right there. Thanks for coming and doing all that you do and taking care of us. We don't know how to act in this fancy new room, but we appreciate that also. We'd like to recognize Paul Green to give us an introduction of not a new face, but a change that's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Secretary. With the recent retirement of Bob Rose in Division 7, we have selected Jay Earp as the new Division 7 engineer. He was selected from a great group of 8 applicants. Jay grew up in Texas, graduated from Oklahoma State University with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering in '98, and joined the ODOT as an engineer in training later that year. He's worked as a Division 7 bridge engineer, area maintenance engineer, Ardmore resident engineer, and was promoted to the construction engineer in his last job before this one. Jay and his wife, Jennifer, who's a school teacher, have a son, Judd, and a daughter, Lauren. So we want to welcome Jay to his new position. Thank you.
So Rose is not here anywhere. I don't know if I believe that or not. Thank you, Paul. Congratulations, Jay. And Don, where are you at? Oh, there you are.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, members of the Commission. I'm pleased to announce Rick Johnson has been selected as the Project Management Division Manager. You probably remember Ray Sanders. He retired recently and he moved to Key West. So we have to replace him. Come on, Rick, stand up. Yeah, thank you. Rick began his career with the agency in 1997 in roadway design, and he worked extensively with the enhancements program, and he was the special projects branch manager in '07. He then moved to project management division, and he was the Division 8 project manager until 2010 when he moved to facilities management division. So we're very pleased to have him in his leadership position with the project management division. Thank you.
John. Thank you, Rick. That's how it's supposed to work, folks. Succession. Things work a little easier when you got folks that's been here a while and know what to do. Appreciate you guys. All right, we'll go to the announcements and presentations. We'll ask Ms. Angier to present the presentation of the 16 National Media Award.
Good morning, Commissioners, Secretary. It gives me great pleasure today to recognize Alex Cameron with KWTV Channel 9 before you. We nominated Alex for the Asst National Media Award, the it's Association of Traffic Safety Services, American Association of Traffic Safety Services. And it was kind of a bold move because you may remember in 2013, not too long ago, Oklahoma was the first recipient of that award through the Daily Oklahoman. So we nominated Alex, but we knew it would be tough. But ATSA recognized the strong nomination and added some more awards so they could recognize Alex along with 2 other people from Florida and Missouri. So we are just delighted to have had Alex be recognized. They just announced that at the annual meeting last weekend, and they sent us the award to present to Alex before you today. I have worked with Alex for over 20 years. We've worked in many capacities on many stories, many topics. And I would estimate over hundreds of stories, and I have yet to think of one story where we felt like there was a correction needed or that he didn't treat us fairly. Alex has a knack for working with the media, working with the agencies and people and doing extremely difficult stories, asking the tough questions, but still keeping everybody happy. I'm not sure how he does that. So we are very, very pleased to announce this award today. Oklahoma has a number of great reporters, two of them sitting right here. However, I put Alex in the top one or two in the state, and now, according to ATSA, in the nation. So with that, I want to welcome Alex to our commission meeting and recognize him. But before we give him the award, I want to see if the director, secretary, one of the stories, Mr. Secretary, we send in as an example was the one he did with you on cable stories, where he really asked you some tough questions and caused some problems for you. So.
Thank you, Terry. Commissioners, the most recent story that I can tell you about Alex was the interview that he did with me having to do with our new rail safety crossing program. And the report, that's an unprecedented move by the Department of Transportation to put that much money, that much effort into rail crossing safety, and Alex gravitated directly to it. And that's a difficult story to tell, as Terry talks about. It's a tough story to condense down into a news report, but Alex was able to do that and really showed the impact that the agency was going to make on the state of Oklahoma and this nation in providing that additional safety crossings at rail crossings, excuse me. But so Alex, thank you for all your efforts to take difficult stories and make them where people can understand. We really appreciate that.
Mr. Secretary?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Alex, as Director Patterson pointed out, can certainly get to the heart of the matter pretty quick. I can't tell you how many times that I would say to him after he'd ask me a question is, well, I wish he hadn't asked me that. Because I have to go back to what Terri told me when I first became director. She called me off into the corner of the room, maybe in this room, and said, she called me director at the time instead of Gary. She called me a lot of other things too. But she said, always tell the truth, but if you can't, don't lie. And so I always remembered that when I talk with Alex. And but as Mike pointed out, there's been, I don't know how many times Alex has interviewed me on some difficult topics, but I always thought, as Director Patterson pointed out, I always thought he was fair. His stories were accurate and fair, and if a reporter does that, then you have no beef coming. You really don't. And Alex, congratulations. That's a stiff competition because I've been at a couple of those meetings where those awards were scrutinized, and it's well-deserved. We thank you a lot.
I'm just very humbled, really am. I don't know why, but I've always enjoyed doing stories on. I've gravitated to stories on state government generally, and I've always had an interest in transportation stories as well because they affect all of us. So, and it's been easy because the staff here has always been top notch, from top to bottom. The media relations people at the Department of Transportation are the very best. And thank you very much, Terry.
Thank you, Alex, for your comments. We appreciate all the coverage we can get. We feel like the more the public knows, the better it is for everyone. We'll move to the approval of the minutes of the transportation meeting of January the 4th of 2016. What's your pleasure?
Move for approval.
We have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burrage.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Motion passes. The consent docket is made up of items 14 through 16. We'll hear a motion.
Make a motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burrage.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Passes. We'll hear item 17 to be presented by Mr. Tegeler, Director of Engineering.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Mr. Secretary. Item 17, I have 4 parts this month. Part A is a statewide all districts. It's for our on-demand mobile LiDAR mapping. This is with CEC Corporation for a total not to exceed $250,000. Funding will be 100% state funds. Part B is also statewide. This is our on-demand bridge assessment. This is with 3 firms, Burgess and Nyepel, CEC Corporation, Garver LLC, and this is a total not to exceed for these 3 contracts of $750,000. This is also 100% state funds. Parts C and D are our off-system bridge inspection. Part C is our off-system bridge inspection contracts. This is with 10 firms, Burgess and Nyepel, CEC Corporation, Guy Engineering, Infrastructure Engineers, Leidos Engineering, excuse me, H.W. Lochner, MKEC Engineering, Aller and Aller Engineering, Olson Associates, and Trans Systems Corporation. The total aggregate not to exceed for these contracts, $3,834,596. And Part D is our all-district statewide off-system bridge inspection agreements. These are with our CEDs. It's CED 2, CED 4, CED 7, CED 8, CED 3, and Wagner County. The aggregate not to exceed amount for these contracts are $2,531,570. And before I finish, I just want to let you know, these 2, Parts C and D, the total number of bridges that are being inspected is 15,290 bridges, and that's well over 16,800 inspections for these bridges. Approval is recommended. I'll try to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Tegeler has presented item 17, which is the engineering contracts. We'll hear a motion.
Motion approved.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burrage.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll hear item 18, which is the contract supplements. Continue.
Okay, thank you. I have 8 parts this month. Part A is a statewide supplement with CEC Corporation. This is for our on-site or site adaptation plans for our maintenance facilities. This is a total not to exceed amount of $500,000. It's also 100% state funds. Part B is also a statewide all contracts. This is our on-demand environmental studies with Able Consulting, CEC Corporation, CP&Y, and Garver. Total aggregate increase for these supplements is $400,000. Parts C, D, and E are related contracts. This is our off-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspection services. Part C is with Burgess and Nyepel. This is for additional work, including 52 bridges to do the load rating and additional bridge inspections. This is a not to exceed $716,477. Part D is with infrastructure engineers for a supplemental not to exceed $210,000. And Part E is supplemental with Trans Systems Corporations for $68,521. Then Parts F, G, and H are project-specific supplements. Part F in Lincoln County is with our CP&Y. This is to final design plans for State Highway 66. The supplement not to exceed is $4,147.50. The 8-year construction work plan for this project is in 2019. Part G in Harmon County is with Triad Design Group. This is to prepare the final design plans for State Highway 30 over the Salt Fork of the Red River. This is a not to exceed amount of $87,500. This project is in the 8-year construction plan in 2017. And finally, Part H in Cimarron County. This is with Guy Engineering Services to prepare final design plans for US 385 Boys City Square for a not to exceed amount of $269,665. This project is also in our 8-year construction work plan in 2019. Approval is recommended, and I'll try to answer any questions that you may have.
You've heard the presentation on the contract supplements.
Motion to approve item 18.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burrage.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Item 18 passes. Thank you, sir. We'll hear the lettings by Mr. Atkins.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, members of the Commission, item 19 consists of the final April, the tentative May, and the tentative June 2016 bid openings, and the Department recommends approval of item 19.
You have the presentation of item 19. Do we have a motion?
Motion for approval.
We have a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burrage.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 19 passes. Thank you, Mr. Atkins. Mr. Raymond will bring us an information item for number 20.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, members of the Commission. I'd like to present item number 20, parts A through Y. These represent the change orders on projects with a cumulative total of $50,000 or less. This item is presented for your information only. No action is necessary, but I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have.
If there's no questions on item 20, we'll move to item 21 for the change orders greater than $50,000. Mr. Raymond?
Thank you. I'd like to present item number 21, parts A through Q. These represent the change orders on projects with a cumulative total greater than $50,000, and your approval is recommended.
You've heard the presentation for item 21. Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burrage.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, sir. We'll hear item 22.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, and members of the Commission. Agenda item 22 is for settlements for damages to state property, and there are 3 parts to it. Part A is in Rogers County for damages to a stop sign in the amount of $350. And Part B is in Tulsa County with damages to cable barrier in the amount of $1,116. Part C is in Oklahoma County with damage to a sign in the amount of $500. for a total write-off of $1,966. And the department requests and recommends approval of this item, and I'll try and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your presentation. Do we have a motion for item 22?
So moved.
We have a motion for approval for item 22.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burrage.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item 23 is awards. You are recognized.
Good morning, Commissioner, Secretary, Commissioners. Item 23 are our recommendations from the January 21st bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the letting referred to by call order be awarded. It's call orders 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 110 with the add alternate, 120, 130, 140, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 260, 270 to the second low bidder, 290, 300, 310, 330, 350, 360, 400, 430, 450, 470, 480, 490, 500, 510, 520, 530, 540, 570, 590, 610, 620, 630, 650, 670, 690, 700, 710, 720, 730, 740, 750, 770, 775, and 780. It is recommended that the following items from the letting referred to by call order be rejected. That's call order 70, 250, 320, 380, 420, and 550. This concludes our recommendations for award. Your approval is requested.
You've heard the recommendations. Do we have a motion for item 23?
Motion for approval.
We have a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
I have one question, not directly on your report here, Anthony, but in general with crude oil off however many percent over 2 years ago, are we seeing our bids reflective of that being the case? Asphalt being, you know, what you would think would be quite a bit cheaper?
Sure, I haven't compared them from month to month, but I can tell you for this particular letting, we're well under what we estimated for these projects on most cases.
Good.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burrage.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Item 23 passes. Thank you, sir. We'll recognize the director for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Mr. Secretary. With Anthony's approval of the bids, you just awarded the first contract in a series of contracts that will reconstruct I-240 and I-35. It's going to change the whole dynamics of that interchange in South Oklahoma City. That interchange carries approximately 200,000 vehicles a day, much needed for many safety concerns in the area, but the flow of traffic will improve as we continue to on with our construction projects. The last construction project in that area will hopefully be awarded in 2021 with completion in 2023. So we have a long ways to go on that particular corridor, but it's much needed. And I'm very happy that you were able to award that today. We've got a good contractor on the project that will get us started, get the momentum started in that area, and make the very best improvements that are possible. It's going to take a lot of patience from the drivers as we go through this process, and we hope that they can stay with us for the duration, because it is going to be long, it's going to be arduous, but it is much needed. Mr. Chairman, if I might, a couple of months ago I visited with the Commission about the FAST Act. and how appreciative we were that Congress and the President were able to get passage on that new authorization for the federal aid program. At the time, I mentioned, and rightfully so, the most exciting part about the FAST Act is the opportunity to have continuity, that we would have some certainty in our future months and years on what our federal funds look like. Didn't know exactly how much we were going to receive. There was reports in the newspapers all across the country that additional money was going to come to each one of the DOTs for the highway program. Inasmuch as my experience has in the past proved to be effective in dissecting federal legislation and coming up with how much money we were going to receive here in Oklahoma, I was unable to do so, and I was going to leave that answer to the Federal Highway Administration and thought they would have us an answer by now, but they don't. And so we still sit wondering. We really need to have that answer. There are those at the state capitol and the legislature that are considering any additional revenue to be an offset for any shortfall we might have in state revenues. But at this point, I'm just hoping that we break even, and reliance on future funds coming to us will be our number one win with the FAST Act. But it's yet to be seen. I know that there's going to be additional money for local governments, both here and across the country. So we'll see. I was hoping to have that answer for you today, but just don't have it. On the state front, we're going to face another reduction in revenues. It's going to have to happen. You'll recall on December 23rd, we received a revenue failure from Preston Dorflinger, the Secretary of Finance for the governor. And that amounted to about $13.2 million here at the department. We will see something similar to that in the not too distant future. There may even be an opportunity or possibility, if you will, that this legislature may choose to go into a concurrent special session to deal with the current year budget. So we will likely either have a revenue failure or a concurrent special session that will address any future revenue shortfalls. So as we had talked before, any revenue shortfall from here for the remainder of this fiscal year, including the 13.2, will have an effect on our 8-year plan. We have committed to maintain the investment that we made in the last 10 years and preserve those assets. And so as the director and the commission, we have increased our maintenance budget, increased our asset preservation budget for that very fact. And so as time goes on, as this year goes on, we may in fact have to slide some projects into next fiscal year, but they will be done. Everything in the 8-year plan will get done. It's just a matter of time, and it'll be a matter of financial resources. Be happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr. Secretary.
Director, when you say you hope to stay even with your federal budget and the DRIVE Act, your 8-year program is, correct me if I'm wrong, your 8-year program is predicated on that fact, is it not?
That's exactly right, Mr. Secretary. It is predicated on the next 8 years are based on what was in the statute at the time. And we hope that we're able to maintain that financial level. If not, then we will have to make adjustments to the 8-year plan.
Does any commissioner have a comment? I don't think we have any questions.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for your report. We're here, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burrage.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
We are adjourned.